folks, how you doing? It's a wee bit breezy here, I hope you can hear me. So I'm an hour and a half in and I'm pretty much at the high point for today. I'm about 570 metres. I didn't film any of the climb, it was a wee bit of a pain fest hauling this bike up here with my boat on it. So I'm going to suit up now. I'll cool down quite quickly. I've got to contour for a few kilometres and then I've got a fair drop. So I'm going to put my hat on, my cycle helmet for safety, and put a jacket and some gloves on to preserve the heat that I've built up on that climb. So let's get to it. You see that there, folks? That's Loch Treig. So we started at Loch Rannoch and we came up and over, we dropped down to Loch Ossian, and then we came up and over again. We're heading down to Loch Treig, and I think we'll probably call it a day. It's 3:30, so I was up early this morning, quite a long drive, and prepare the bike. Stash the bike carrier in the back of the car and into the hills. Just grand. So I've got a good descent, and then I'm going to scout about and make a bit of a plan for tonight and for tomorrow morning. It's a bonny loch, Loch Treig. Very fjord-like, and a big body of water. Let me spin you around so you can have a wee look. So I'm heading in that direction, but my track runs out just at these trees there. There is another track, I'm pretty sure you won't be able to see it on the GoPro. It's on the other side of the loch and it's just in about there, so several kilometres up the loch and on the other side, but I need a boat to get to that particular point. Although it's very gloomy just now, I'm not sure how well the GoPro is picking that up, but it feels like it's ready for dark. But in fact I've still got an hour and a half of daylight left. But it's not enough to get the boat out and get on the water, which is a bit of a pity because I've got a super long day tomorrow. Today was characterised by a tremendous amount of climbing, a lot of up and down, and the downs were easy enough, but the climbs were quite hard. So let me have a look at you. So I'm going to cycle on to the trees, and then I may just camp on the track. Actually, it would be the easiest thing to do, but I might scout the trees and see if there's any traces of a path that I could cycle or push the bike on a little bit just to cover a wee bit extra distance today. But I think likely as not we'll be setting the tent up in about 10 or 15 minutes from now. So I'll pop this camera away. We'll roll down the last few hundred metres. Well folks, we're here for the night. I scouted in the trees for a wee while, but boy oh boy, it's wild in there. It's a tangle of wind-blown trees, bracken that's all down and tangled together, interlaced with 3-metre long brambles. And this hillside and on my left there is riven with burns, and they all flow into the trees. So there's lots of burns and bogs and you name it. So I went in for a reasonable distance, but I thought no, I don't fancy hiking a bike through there. There's several kilometres of it. What I'm trying to do is to shorten my paddle for tomorrow. So ideally I should be on the other side of the loch with a pack craft with a bike on the front. I'm never very keen on going out right into the middle, but I think it's going to be calmer conditions tomorrow, so I can maybe do a traverse across, or I can maybe just point for the other side and scoot right across. But I'll go up because it narrows all the way, and if it's still a bit choppy out in the middle, I can see 1 or 2 white horses out in the middle there, so it's pretty calm along the shoreline. So if it stays like that tomorrow, I'll just hug the shoreline and I'll have a bigger paddle than I planned, because I'll have to go right up and then cross at the narrow bit, and I might not be able to pick up that track. I'm looking across it. I went down to the water's edge a minute ago and I'm not sure if I can see that track. It might be my imagination. I'll dig the map out in a wee while and see how many kilometres on it is, but I think it's probably too far away to see, so I'm just seeing a fold in the hills. Anyhow, I spent a fair bit of time scouting about in there, and I'm kind of stuck with this. I brought the bike down because I saw this wee bit and I thought it would do, but actually it'd have been better just at the edge of the track up there. It's a bit flatter, but I don't want to hike the bike all the way back up there. It's pretty steep. So I'm going to make do. I think I can get in there. I'll be comfortable enough tonight. I'll pack my panniers or something under the edge of the tent just to give me a fairly level platform. I need a decent sleep tonight, because It was a hard day today, and the paddling tomorrow with a bike on the front is not particularly easy. But I'm hoping that we get a wee blink of sunshine tomorrow, folks. It's been pretty gloomy today. Very atmospheric. I'm not complaining, I hope it doesn't sound like I am. So I'm going to have a wee sip. I've got some coffee, it's a bit late for coffee, but I think it was decaf that I made this morning. It'll still be warm. I'm going to have a wee sip of that. I'll get this tent up and then I'll get some food on the go. If you're wondering about me camping so close to these big trees and the wind, you can probably hear the wind. The wind is going that way and the forecast is for it to continue going that way, but to calm down. So I'm not worried about being so close to these trees. South and southwesterly winds forecast, but very light wind, so it's windier than I expected it, to be honest, but it's in the direction it was forecast, so that's okay. I don't think I'll bother pegging the tent out tonight. I might tidy it up a little bit with some stones, but I don't think it'll be easy to get pegs in here anyway. Hat in case it gets cold later on. It's remarkably mild for the time of the year. Right folks, I'm going to call it a night. I'll check in with you in the morning. I've had some peaches. I've got a drink on the go. I've had some peaches to help me rehydrate. I was a bit dehydrated, I think, after all these climbs today. And I've got this expedition food that I've actually become quite keen on it. So this is a macaroni cheese that I've got tonight. So I've got a pasta. Super. But I didn't bring a filming lamp with me, and I don't want to blind you with my head torch, so I'm going to tuck into this, into my sleeping bag, and then just the usual, listen to some tunes. I've got a book with me, quite a thin one, do a wee bit of reading, and then hopefully we'll get a reasonably early start in the morning. I think it's light at about the back of 7 o'clock now, so, and I think it's easy to move around about 7:30, so enough light for packing up. So it's a moody evening, no sunset, more wind than I wanted, and a wee bit colder than I expected. Such is the life of an outdoorsman in Scotland. Right folks, I'm going to have my pasta. I'll get back to you in the morning. Good night for now. Morning folks. Up and about early. Look under my gloves. Well, I was hoping for a better day today. I don't know if the weather's going to improve as the day progresses, but a bit marginal for putting the boat on the water. I wouldn't be bothered so much if I didn't have the bike on the front of the boat. Porridge, coffee and the last of my fruit from last night folks. More or less packed up. Takes me just about exactly the same time to pack up as it does to boil up a couple of kettles of water, one for the flask and one for my porridge and coffee. Well, it's still a wee bit breezy folks, but the treetops are bending a bit there, but I think it's okay to go on the water, so I've hiked my gear down. I've just got to take the bike down now and then get the boat inflated, and we'll get this journey on the go. Well folks, it takes a wee while to pack the boat, but the advantage of that this morning is the conditions have calmed down a little bit for me, so I'm reasonably confident of having a nice easy paddle. Let's hope I don't jinx it by saying that. Hear the birds singing. Now I've got to get the boat in the water. It's quite heavy and quite hard to get it in without damaging it. So that's my excuse for not doing any filming from shore. I'll do the first wee bit and then I'll take you on board with me. One of my gloves wet, folks. I drifted into a rose bush on the shore, and a thorny rose bush is not good company for a pack raft. Didn't hear a hiss. I think we're okay. So I'm pretty front end heavy here, but I think it'll be okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go down the loch a little bit, nice and slowly. Keep reasonably close to shore for a wee while, see how the boat is handling. Camera's literally perched on the top of the bike, it's not tied into the boat in any way at all, so I hope I don't lose it. It would be a bust for this video because I've filmed on one camera only. Well, we're making progress folks. I pulled over and adjusted the boat a little bit, trimmed the boat a wee bit, so it's a little bit easier on the paddling now. Still haven't got a decent spot for the camera though. Paddling straight for that wee point ahead there folks, which takes me a fair distance out from the shoreline, and it's a straight line. I've got a lot of distance to cover today. I don't want to be adding to it too much, but I also don't want to be paddling down the middle of the loch with all this weight in the boat. Well, we've covered a few kilometres folks, we're making progress. You don't go anywhere fast in the pack raft, I think I've said that a few times. As you can see, I'm quite a long way from shore. I'm trying to keep a fairly straight line, and I'm also trying to keep that wind behind me to give me a little bit of assistance. Made the crossing. I didn't put the camera on. In fact, I couldn't put the camera on once I decided. I got hit by a couple of big gusts of wind which pushed me out from the far shore there, and I thought, well, I'm here now, let's have a go at it. So I traversed the width of the loch, although it's not very wide. Boy, it was wild out there. There were some big swells. So I've mentioned before about the fetch on water, so the wind is blowing the length of this loch just now. So the wee ripples down at the far end turn into big waves up at this end. The amplification. And the further down I go, the harder it's going to get. Although I could go right to the very end of the loch and then go trackless for a wee while to try and get across to the side where the track is, but I decided to cross the open water. So the shoreline is looking quite comforting there, although it's very rocky and steep and deep. I don't know that I'd actually be able to get out, so I don't know that I'm a whole lot safer here than I was out in the middle, to be honest. But the swell is easier here, so just paddling down. You can see the track in front of you there, a few hundred metres now. So apart from one wee stop to trim the boat again, I haven't stopped. I've just gone into beast mode and done a bit of work. That's where we came from. All good. A ship to a fair bit of water. Shipped a fair bit of water during the crossing. Not enough to sink the boat. Well, there we are, folks. We're packed up and back on the boat. Back on the bike again. Didn't take long to put the boat away. It takes longer to load the boat than it does to unpack it. If you know the route, if you've got a fair idea of where I'm travelling, you'll realise that I'm not filming very much, and that's because it's the month of February. It's pretty cold and I've got long distances to cover, so I need to get on with the job. I need to keep my head down and keep moving. But I'll put the camera on here and there. I'm looking at that GoPro muffler and I'm hoping it's not over the lens. It'll spoil this shot. I'll have to use it anyway because I'm not going to go and do take two. So I'm going to crack on down this good track, and then I'm deep into the forest and I've got to search out another track. A little bit of forestry that I'm not familiar with, so it might use up a wee bit of time with the GPS and the map. The problem with the forest tracks is they come and go, and the depiction on the map is not always that accurate, so I know that I've got a wee bit of work ahead with the navigation, so I'm going to crack on, but I'm making good time this morning. I think that means that I'm re-entering it, folks, so I guess I've left the remote, sparsely populated, potentially dangerous mountain country and just about to go back into it again. I've just been checking my route, folks. I'm in a little bit of unfamiliar forestry. It's quite extensive. I don't want to be getting lost in the trees. I've got my chainsaw with me today. I haven't been filming very much because I've got excuse me, I've got distance to cover. Tilt you up a little bit. So the tripod has remained firmly strapped to the back of the bike. Thought I'd put the camera on the front for a wee while. Some sugary footage. I haven't had my lunch yet. It's getting quite late. I'm quite hungry. Still haven't had my lunch yet, folks. It's just after 1 o'clock. I decided to do a little bit of the climb. Having a wee break, folks. From the high point there's a glorious downhill. It's a relatively gentle downhill, but you can pick up a lot of speed on it, well, ordinarily. But today I was turning the pedals hard all the way down. There was one point I came round a wee bend straight into the teeth of this wind, and I had to use my climbing gear. I had to go right into first gear, going downhill, struggling to make any forward progress. So my easy afternoon, excuse me, has turned out to be not so easy. I've got a little bit of shelter under this crag here, but only for about 200 meters, and then I turn back southwesterly and straight into the wind, so I'm just enjoying a wee break. We made it, folks. We're in the trees. We've got a wee bit of shelter. A little bit of sunshine on Loch Ossian. You'll recognise this spot, folks. It's only a couple of months since I was here. Tram lines in my hair with my cycle helmet. To rename the channel to Deja Vu, or Deja Vu. So it's just a little after 4 o'clock. I got here in good time, and I actually, at the end of the track there, before I hiked over here with the bike, I contemplated going on a bit and camping high with a nice view, but I think it's I don't know, the high ground seems to be troubled by wind today. Although it's flat cam here, it's absolutely glorious now, so it might be that just the cam conditions were a bit slow coming in. But I'm happy enough here. It's good to be setting up camp a bit earlier. I've got an hour and a half of daylight, so I can just set up camp at my leisure, cook up and enjoy an early dinner in daylight, I think. Morning folks, what a beautiful calm morning. This is the conditions that I was looking for yesterday morning before I went on the water, so maybe that calm weather is just a little bit late, which is a wee bit ironic because I set off a day early to try and time my paddling to suit with the calmest weather. But you know what they say, red sky in the morning and all that. I think the weather is going to deteriorate later this week. That's me more or less packed up folks, the tent's empty. Well, look at that folks, flat calm and the birds are singing. That's the conditions that I was hoping for yesterday. There's a wee tussle down Loch Treig yesterday morning. I was on the water by this time. But I'm all packed up, cinched down. I've just got to shoulder my wee rucksack. There's not much in it. Down the track and then up the track. It's So I'm going to put the camera away here, folks. I'm going to tie it on the back of the bike, but I've got a GoPro in my pocket, so what I might do is I might just switch the camera on here and there, but no trackside filming and no delays in setting up camera angles. I'll simply hold out this GoPro and let you know how progress is going. So effectively the video is over. If you want to go make a cup of tea, you can do it now. Right, let's get this bike saddled up. Trying to shelter the GoPro from the wind, folks. I've got it tucked in beside me. So you can see two wee islands down there, tiny wee ones close to shore, and then a big clump of trees right on the shoreline opposite, the opposite bank. Well, that's where I camped last night, and instead of just putting the boat in the water and paddling across, I decided to cycle round. Basically, I didn't want to hike the bike up over all this. It's almost well, not quite a kilometre, but pretty unforgiving terrain with a heavily laden bike. So I cycled all the way down on a good track to the end of the loch, which is just about visible, and then I came up on this track, and I'm going to turn you around and show you where we're going, but I'm going to be pointing the camera straight into the wind, so you'll get a bit of wind noise. So we're going up here, the track bends away to the left, and then it's visible to me because I know where to look on the flank across there, and then it continues ascending. So I'm probably about a fifth of the way up, and I'm about an hour in, just under an hour. Let me shelter the camera from the wind again. So I'm a little bit under an hour in from where I left, but it'll only take me another hour to do the climb, hopefully. So I'm going to put the camera away. I'll check in with you again in a wee while. Just checking in again, folks. Let me show you the direction of travel. You see that ridge coming down there? I've got to cross that. I very much doubt that the track is visible on the GoPro, but I can see it, so there's a fair bit of climbing. But that's the black water down there, and when you come up from Loch Ossian, you don't see that until you get a fair distance round, and then it seems away off in front of you and to the right, and now it's at my 4 o'clock, it's to my right and slightly behind me. So we're making good progress, feeling good today. And the old Carrower Lodge, is it the Carrower Lodge? The old lodge anyway, is up ahead, the ruin. And I've got a couple of rivers to cross, and then I've got that climb, and that climb is not quite the high point on the track, but it's one of the high points. It undulates a little bit after that, and then there's one further climb, and then that's more or less the job done. Downhill all the way to the road. Lovely seeing some shafts of light coming through the heavy cloud. Well, folks, I'm about a kilometre or two into my descent. Coming down the track there, and I'm heading down that way. I mentioned Blackwater before. That's Blackwater there, and Liam Ulam, William's Leap, the Corbett lost in the crag. Looking round that way, and beyond that Graham there's Loch Leyden, and then just a glimpse of Loch Treig down there. So I'm going down towards that tiny bit of water that's probably not visible in the camera, and then I have about 2 miles of uphill road cycling to do to get back to the car. But it's going to be quite cool on the descent, so I'm layering up. I'm just going to take my time going down. It's down here about a couple of kilometres or more, that I broke my other Genesis caribou, but fortunately I was able to fashion a repair and I got back. At that on that trip I was parked at my pal's house, at John's house at Kinloch Rannoch, so I had 18 miles of road cycling with a broken bike, but it worked out just fine. It was no problem at all. So I don't want a repeat of a broken frame, so I'm going to take my time going down here. No hammering down. Right, get this jacket zipped up, get back on the bike. I'll check in with you when I get back to the car, folks. Well folks, I'm in the car. I'm actually part way down the road already. I'm at what will it be, the east end of Loch Rannoch. I don't know if you can see it through the dirty car window there, but it's like a mill pond. A little bit different from Loch Treig yesterday. Hope you enjoyed this wee video, folks. It's been good to check in with you again, so take care and I look forward to getting back to you on the next one. Bye for now.